Zio here. I'm gonna let you come on in and join me. I can't believe this is my last live tasting with you guys. We've done 4 and this is the 4th. I'm so sad. Yeah, but this is gonna be all about holiday pairings. So if you are reading right now and you see that little comment box, please tell me what you're doing this holiday. I know it might not look like every other holiday, but maybe you're trying out like some cool new recipe, or you're doing a pairing, maybe something you learned in one of my lives, that'd be cool. Or, maybe you have free reign this year because you're not visiting certain people. I know I am doing some crazy stuff, but we shall see. This is gonna be all about appetizers and stuff that will go really, really well before the entrees. And then I'm gonna talk about some fun wines for the entrees as well. So, first of all, like I said, I have 4 amazing wines from Harry and David, but I also have 3 items from the gourmet line from Harry and David. So the first one here is this appetizer trio. I have to come show you this, it's so good. So, look how amazing. I mean, I would want something like this any morning, but Christmas morning, New Year's morning, this is absolutely the best thing to wake up to. So first of all, you have these phyllo dough wrapped asparagus, which are so, so good. And there's a little Asiago cheese and Parmesan on top. And then on the quiche side, we have 3 different kinds. So there is a 3 cheese, then a mushroom and red pepper in the middle. And the third one is this spinach and Swiss, which I'm obsessed with. Yeah, I got into it a little early. I had to do the pairings, you know what I'm saying. So you might be wondering, what would you pair with those? Because they're kind of on the vegetable side. The other quiche, that comes in the trio, it's not really a quiche, but it's a tart. It's a lemon coconut cheesecake. I don't know, oh, these things are insane. I don't even really have like a crazy sweet tooth, but cheesecake is like, I'm all about it. This is my thing, for sure. So lots of options for wine pairings. But all of them you can do with the Harry and David sparkling wine. So that's this guy here. And I'm having the 2019, so this is a vintage sparkling wine. And the reason why I like this with all of them is because it's bubbly, light, and refreshing. So it's really gonna cut through like the fat of, the egg and the cheese, but it's got that bubbly effervescence that is gonna just be perfect with the phyllo dough, that flaky crust. I highly, highly recommend a sparkling wine if you are thinking about doing a quiche for, Christmas morning or, any of those days. New Year's Eve morning, it's perfect. Also with the sweet, it's hard. Sometimes people ask me, like, should I look to do like a sweet or a dessert wine with something like a cheesecake? Honestly, you don't need to. This is a totally dry sparkling wine, and I think that it's perfect with that cheesecake. Just gives it a little hint of, there's some stone fruit, don't get me wrong. It's not non-fruity at all, but there's like a little bit of green apple, a little bit of pear, but for the most part, it's got like some stony minerality. I absolutely love this. I am using a flute today. It depends on your style. I like it for when you're doing like a little bit of a appetizer spread. It really does look pretty, and it kind of shows you which one is the sparkling and which one's the white, if they do have like a similar color. So that's why I like a flute, but I don't like to fill it to the top, as you see. I do like to have some room to swirl if you're gonna have a little bit of a flute, because you gotta open it up and see what you can smell and taste. But what I love about these, like I said, there's asparagus, spinach, red pepper, mushroom. These are all vegetables that are really hard to pair with wines that are from a hot climate. So those wines tend to have melon and pineapple and just all these tropical flavors that don't go so well together when you have vegetables, with these green vegetables. So I like to go to cool climates like Oregon, or, places in the old world, of course, Italy, France, those classic regions that have more of the minerality and even sometimes vegetal notes. So, like I said, the sparkling is perfect because it just isn't such a fruity wine. I would never pair like a mimosa or a Bellini with this kind of thing. It is not going to pair well when you have oranges and grapefruit. That it just clashes when you think about having like fruitiness and the vegetal notes. So speaking of, if you're looking for a red wine that's going to go with this, I urge you to try the Harry and David Pinot Noir. I mean, Pinot Noir is always, almost always, especially in cool climates where it has to grow because it's kind of a finicky grape, there are going to be mushrooms already on the nose. Like sometimes, I've had this one a few times. I do love it so much. It's just swirling it around here, but yeah, there's like a little bit of clay, a little bit of mushrooms, maybe a little florals, but it's not a super fruity wine. So because of that mushroom note, you can definitely pair it with these quiches and anything that has like a vegetal quality. So if you're thinking, oh, my Christmas does kind of look like, my Hanukkah, it looks like there are going to be a lot of vegetables on the table, then look for a Pinot Noir if you're trying to drink red wine. So I do absolutely love this one. It's just earth-driven. Like even if there is a hint of cherry, because Pinot Noir is so all over the place. Like you'll taste it and then it'll change and then tomorrow it'll taste like something else. That's just Pinot Noir. But even if there's a hint of cherry, it doesn't clash with what we have going on here. I wouldn't pair it with the tart because of the tannins. I think personally, doing cheesecake with red wine, it's just a little too drying in the mouth. It's cloying in the cheeks from the tannin. But Pinot Noir is the thinnest skinned wine, the lowest tannin almost ever. I mean, obviously Gamay, and then there's a couple of others that have even thinner skins. So if you wanted red wine at brunch, think about Pinot Noir over a Cabernet. But that's why we look to that, for our entrees or a lot of the meatier dishes. But before we get to that, I have to show you my other pairing for a Pinot Noir and a sparkling wine, and that is the Harry and David Baked Brie. Oh yeah, coming around to show you this guy. I mean, hello, can you even? Look at how beautiful this thing is. I just baked this, it was so easy, it came just right to me. And there's pine nuts inside, and obviously the beautiful brie cheese, and a little bit of basil as well. So it just has so much going on. It's like so decadent and beautiful. I do some fruit, I do some crackers. It's really up to you. I'm only doing like a 2-person deal this year, but this thing, it may not look so big, but it is like perfect for a huge family. I had this before and I could have like a sliver of it to myself because it is decadent and rich. So it'll go perfectly with a lot of different, I think the Pinot Noir is perfect because of the fruit that you can add with it. Think about, would you put fruit on top of your dish? That's when you know that Pinot Noir would be such a great pairing. But with the sparkling wine, I mean, those bubbles are just perfect for cutting through that flaky crust, and the acidity balances out with the fat, and it just feels so good. So I definitely recommend that. All right, so we've got a couple of appetizers, a couple of things, but I know you might be thinking, what about my heavier dishes, my entree, my Christmas ham, my lamb shanks? That's why we are going to talk about some red wines today. So, some new glass. We are going to the Harry and David Cabernet, the Reserve. So I don't know if y'all have had this, but it's from Southern Oregon. It's the 2018 vintage that's available now, but this is a stunning Cabernet. And because of the cool climate, every time I taste this, it's not so fruity. There's blackberries, but it's more like black pepper and cocoa and a little bit of coffee beans. There's so much going on. If you know about Cabernet, it changes from place to place, and it is actually easier, to grow than Pinot Noir, the finicky grape. That's because when the sun comes out and these grapes ripen, they can really do it anywhere. So it's pretty cool to taste it from all over. But as you can see from that color, like this is a really dark wine. It's almost purple in the glass. And I don't know if you saw me last week, but we were talking about maybe you can judge a wine by its color, or maybe not. And in this case, you definitely can. No, I can't see through this at all. That means it's going to be full in tannin, full in body, and you're going to want to pair a meaty type of dish with this. So, yeah, there's a lot of tannin here. It's drying out my tongue, drying out my cheeks. If that's what you like in a wine, this is for you, absolutely. But I would pair it with like a beef tenderloin, you know, even like a rich stew, lamb shanks. This is like, the thing about tannin, high tannin wines, is they cut through fat. So this will dissolve it perfectly. Similar to acidity, but in a different way. It dissolves it instead of making you want more. It makes it like more exciting to drink. So think about red meats, rich sauces, stews, I mean even like meatballs, charred notes. This Cabernet Sauvignon is definitely top in terms of tannin, in terms of body. I mean, I absolutely love it, but I wouldn't want to pair it with cheese because you wouldn't really be able to taste the cheese. Or with these like beautiful little eggy guys I have here, that's not the right pairing. It would just fall, you know, it'd fall away. You'd forget about it. You'd think more about the wine that was kind of driving the bus. I love this one. But we do have another one here. So this, I mean, how cute is this, by the way? It came in this, from Harry and David, this little bag. It's so festive, but I'm going to reuse it when I do like blind tasting classes. And I mean, I always like to try and like guess for myself to see if I can figure out what a wine is. So these bags are so cute. And we have the Harry and David Royal Crest Red. So this is the first time I'm tasting this on camera. This is my favorite. I mean, it's the Goldilocks of wine because it's not too light and not too heavy. So I didn't go in order of lightest to fullest today. I'm going down a step just to keep you in the loop. This isn't exactly, you know, this definitely isn't fuller than the Cabernet, but it's a blend of Cabernet and Sauvignon. So what we call this is sort of a Bordeaux blend because technically speaking and, you know, thinking about history, and this is a lot like those Bordeaux blends that are maybe half Sauvignon Blanc, or I'm sorry, Cabernet Sauvignon and then half Merlot. And the reason they do that is to just make that perfect blend that's going to be so crowd pleasing to everyone, which is also kind of good for the holidays and for on your table and less people, you know, complaining. But why would they pair those two grapes together is a question you might ask. And Cabernet Sauvignon is a full-bodied wine, like we just talked about. Those high tannins, dryness, blackberries, black pepper. Merlot, on the other hand, is lighter and it's red fruit like cranberries and sometimes strawberries, but more like dark cherry. And then it's juicier, it's elegant, it's lighter for sure, but it's still not like Pinot Noir. So this is like medium plus, not full, and so beautiful. So let's see if I'm getting, and every time I taste this wine, I'm getting something different. Also, when it does come in like the packages, with this cute little bag, there are these little chocolates and some truffles that come with it, and it does pair really well with chocolate as well. It's a very chocolatey kind of experience, but if that's what you like, then I definitely recommend it. It's a good gift for sure. Yeah, so there's definitely like some cocoa bean and a little bit of like pomegranate seeds, which I think that's probably from the Merlot, just being like so refreshing and red fruited. I'm getting like some red rose petals. It's funny when you start to really dig into florals, like what kind of flower really is this? And it's closest, I think, to a red rose. It's just so lovely. I mean, you can definitely drink this without anything else if you're a wine drinker that, you know, loves red wine, but there's enough tannin to where this would pair perfectly with your Christmas ham, right? Something that is not overly fat, you know, like when we were talking about the tenderloin or the shanks. You know, this is just, it's medium. It's not as delicate as the turkey that we were talking about on Thanksgiving that I would do more with Pinot Noir, because again, those are way, way lighter tannins and body. This is just right in the middle, and it's just so perfect with so many things. I think if you are doing like a meatball, you know, pork meatball kind of dish, this would be perfect. And tomatoes, also really, really great. Polenta, potatoes. There's just so much you can do with this, honestly. So I really, really love it. I'm going to see if anybody has any questions for me. Thank you. Watched me for days. That's so sweet. Oh, all right. So none yet, but please keep them coming. I do have one that I got on my Instagram earlier, and it was about, let me see if I remember it. Somebody said Feast of the Seven Fishes, what they would pair as far as the Harry and David collection. I do that too sometimes with this. I mean, every year is different. Like, I don't know what I'm doing this year, but last year I did the Seven Fishes, and I loved Chardonnay for like salmon and halibut. It's just that perfect medium amount. You know, you've got a little bit of butter that's not over the top oaky, like the Harry and David Chardonnay, which you guys might have seen me in the last two lives because I love that wine so much, but it's not super buttery or oaky. So it goes really nice with not a cream sauce, but a buttered sauce, right? And then if you're doing shellfish in your Seven Fishes, the clams or oysters, that is going to be sparkling wine all the way. Like, that is 100% the way to go for me. But thank you guys so much. This has been such a pleasure. And please come hang out with me, Hillary Zio, on Instagram, if you want to learn more about wine. And happy holidays. Bye-bye.